were like, yeah, we're just gonna do the same thing, but a little bit cheaper, and we're calling it an Echelon. It's pretty wild that they pulled this off. I saw them originally at CES, and I was like, oh, cool, a Peloton booth, and it was Echelon. It was the same thing. It was the exact same thing. What's going on?
Yeah, lots of things going on. Where do you want to start?
You drive. What do you got?
All right, I got a couple quick, random ideas for you. Okay, so I'll call this the big box strategy. Okay, here's my big box strategy. So I saw recently that Kevin Hart was like, "Hey, our new thing is live at Walmart," and I was like, "New thing? What is it?" The list looks pretty much like Athletic Greens, and sure enough, it kind of is. It's just Athletic Greens plus Kevin Hart going into Walmart, lower price point, basically.
How much is it? Athletic Greens is like $80 a month.
Yeah, Athletic Greens is expensive. Let me see. Greens. Let's see his thing. Vita Hustle is his is the name of.
Oh my god.
And literally, it's just like a picture of him drinking his greens and electrolytes on the cover or whatever. So, anyways, I saw it going into Walmart, and I had this realization the other day when I was walking around a Costco. I was walking around Costco. And Costco is amazing. Costco, if you have a Costco deal, if you talk to anyone who has a Costco deal, they're like, Costco drives insane volume. It will make us as a company. It also might break us as a company because they cut pretty ruthless deals. And if you ever lose Costco or they don't go through with their purchase order, you might be screwed. But Costco could drive a ton of volume. And I was walking around and I basically saw in Costco, if you go look, every electronic piece of equipment that's there is it's not a Chinese knockoff. It's like an American knockoff of an American product.
Yeah,
it's like
their light version.
Here's this mattress, 9 Sleep. It's like, what the? This is just like 8 Sleep.
Dude,
what's going on here?
I have a $300 Costco mattress in one of my rooms at my house, and whenever guests stay there, they go, "Where'd you get this mattress?" They ask about it all the time. I'm like, "Fucking $280 at Costco."
So basically, they have a lot of these blenders, fitness trackers, things like that. Right? So they have they need it at a certain price point. So there's a strategy, which is basically you take the highly desirable thing that's kind of at a too high price point, like Athletic Greens or another one, Oura Ring. I don't know if you've ever looked into buying an Oura Ring, but it tracks your sleep. It's whatever. It's a cool ring that tracks your sleep, and it's like $700 or something like that for this ring. And maybe they've changed the pricing now, but I think when I bought it, it was $700. It looks like it's $500. Let's say. So
yeah, 500.
About $500 for the kind of the Generation 3 Oura Ring. They've sold $1 billion of Oura Rings. So there's definitely demand for this product. The cumulative sales is that high. But you go to Costco, there's no Oura Ring, and there's no replacement for Oura Ring. I think you could create a company that just says, I'm going to make a Oura Ring-like thing for Costco. And that's the entire business plan, is just to do that one thing. And if you do that one thing, you'll be more successful than 99% of e-commerce stores. You got to think smarter and not try to work so hard. So similarly, I would go and I would hunt down what are the products that are not yet in Walmart or Costco, places that drive insane volume. Target's another one. That there is proven kind of high-end New York, LA, Lululemon Peloton type of customer that buys a product like that, and you just bring it down market and just make it a little worse, like Theragun, and they've done this with a bunch of them, and go figure out which one is not there. For example, the mattress thing, it's actually not there yet. There is no 8 Sleep mattress there. There is no Oura Ring there yet. At least last time I walked around. And I think that's just a simple strategy for e-commerce.
Have you heard of Echelon?
Echelon, no.
Dude, you should look up Echelon. So Echelon is a fitness company. They started...
it's Peloton. It looks exactly like Peloton. Yeah.
I don't know when exactly they started, but it's an American company, I think, too. So if you go to Echelon Fitness, I think they maybe have changed their branding, but before it was the same red as Peloton. It looks
the same as Peloton.
And it was a Peloton, but cheaper. And they have...
Costco.
Yes, and they do. The guy who started, I read this interview with him. So basically, they have the mirror, the fitness mirror that was really popular called Mirror.
Yeah.
They have a smart rower, which a few companies did. And they did the Peloton bike. Now they have a smart treadmill. And they just did the same thing, but cheaper. And at first, it was all the same branding. But instead of Peloton, it said Echelon. They're on track to do $200 million a year in revenue this year. I think it's a bootstrapped company. Like, I think they just said, like, whatever you do. So it says Peloton rival Echelon Fitness eyes $1 billion valuation. So maybe they recently raised some money, but they were like, yeah, we're just gonna do the same thing, but a little bit cheaper, and we're calling it an Echelon. It's pretty wild that they pulled this off. I saw them originally at CES, and I was like, oh, cool, a Peloton booth, and it was Echelon. It was the same thing. It was the exact same thing. It was pretty funny, and they have a ride with Pitbull. So like Pitbull, the rapper, is like the guy that they chose. They're in Walmart, Costco, Target, things like that. Whereas, Lululemon's company, Mirror, and Peloton was like, fucking Walmart people, not a chance. Like we want skinny people to get skinnier. Like that was their whole shtick. And they went the exact.
It's like Peloton, but the seat is wider for other sorts of people.
Yeah. That's what their motto is. Other sorts of people. And
your
anyway,
type.
Yeah,
we are your type.
Yeah, we're gonna make you look like the before picture instead of the way before picture. And so anyway, pretty cool that they've done exactly what you're talking about. This Kevin Hart thing, it's kind of stupid. It's kind of cheap though, right? If I'm Kevin Hart, I don't know if I would be doing this stuff.
Is $100 million going to be stupid? Because that's what he's going to make off this thing.
I have a meaty topic about your old company, the Milk Road, and how I think that you guys have just made a huge mistake. I'm going to bring that up in a minute, and I want to get your opinion on it. But before I do, I want to talk about something that's not business related at all, but it kind of is, and I'm going to get to it. I've been working on like different body stuff. Like I love like experimenting with body. And this is like a little vein of me to bring this up. But I posted these pictures in our doc, and they're about 2 months apart. And basically what I've been experimenting with body-wise is like getting super lean and like somewhat skinny, and then like gaining weight again, but without getting fat. They call it like a dirty bulk. That's when you eat like a ton of food but you get muscle and you get fat. I've been experimenting with that. But look at the difference in the two pictures that I shared. And if this is on YouTube, we'll put it on the screen, I guess. It seems a little weird, but I guess we'll do it.
Dude, we're making this the thumbnail. If you're going to bring this up, we're getting the clicks. So welcome all of our thumbnail viewers who clicked because you saw a before and after of Sam.
Well, it's not, the pictures aren't that shocking, but here's what I've been testing. Just a difference of 200 to 300 calories a day for 2 months. So you go down to like 1900 to 2000 or 1900 or 2100 ish. That's my window when I'm getting skinny, up to like 2400. That's the difference. 300 calories a day, 200 calories a day. That's the difference. That's like a Twinkie or like a pack of M&Ms. That's not a lot.
2 slices of cheese or something.
Yeah, it's not a significant amount. In my case, it's mostly protein. So it's a little bit more protein. Is that crazy how big of a difference that can make?
It is crazy. I saw you post that on IG, and I had a great joke or something. I remember I had a great joke, and then I was like, I'm not gonna make this joke. This is me getting wiser. I said I'm not gonna make this joke because some people get real sensitive about their body and they don't want jokes. Like even a funny joke won't come across well. So I said, let me just hit the like button and move on, carry on here. But I do have a question for you.
Just say it. Just say it. Come on.
I don't even remember it now. It was something about like, when a person's like super fit, then you have to like pull them down. When someone's like fat, you have to like bring them up. So I was going to make fun of you in some way, but I don't even remember what it was at this point. I have a question for you though. The thing that stood out was you were basically saying this is a 200 calorie difference. And I was like, that's kind of stunning.
It's stunning. And by the way, that's not precise. So I typically weigh stuff. I've been traveling for the last 6 weeks, so I don't weigh stuff, but I track everything. So a lot of it's eyeballing. So I could be give or take.
What are you tracking everything in?
MyFitnessPal. So I use My Body Tutor, and I meet with them weekly, and we go over like the plan, and they give me like the plan to use. And then I have a trainer called Central Athlete, and they tell me what workouts to do. And so I just track everything, and they review it all.
Right. And so you, what's a typical day of eating for you right now?
So right now, I prefer getting a lot of protein early in the day. So I'll do roughly 100 grams of protein first
Are
thing.
you fasting, or are you just doing the like 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes? Like, because I've heard both schools of thought. Intermittent fasting, people like.
I don't fast.
And then Tim Ferriss in the 4 Hour Body was like, no, protein right away, right when you wake up.
I don't fast because I'm hungry in the morning, so I don't fast. So I get up around 9:30. I'll have a cup of yogurt, so that's like 15 grams of protein, I think. And then I'll maybe eat like a banana, and then I'll go and get a really hard workout in. And then afterwards, I use Ascent or Momentous protein, and I do 4 scoops with just water, and I drink that, and then I won't eat till dinner. And then
4's a lot, right?
Isn't
it supposed to be like 1 per thing? That's like the standard serving?
1 or 2. And so
each scoop's like 20 grams of
25, yeah.
So you just get 100 grams right there in that. Can the body even absorb that much protein powder at once? That's what I always wondered.
So I don't know. I think that the preferred method is to get that protein from food and chicken, but I just like doing it. So I just like drinking it and I feel really full. And then at dinner time, I eat chicken and vegetables and usually like a dessert.
Well, wait, so there's no lunch?
That's my lunch, is like the protein. I just feel good.
So you eat a banana, a thing of yogurt, you drink a shitload of protein powder, and then you later for dinner, like we're talking like 6 p.m. now, something like that, right?
Yeah. I'll eat like a 1,300 calorie meal.
You have a huge dinner of chicken and veggies and
chicken or fish and veggies. And the veggies will be something green and also like a potato. And then I'll usually do like a piece of candy or ice cream or something, like a very small serving of that. Like last night I had chocolate covered almonds, like 250 calories worth.
And that adds up to roughly 23 to 2,300.
23 to 24. Calories. Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, not crazy. Like, that's so different is what I should say, because obviously it works. So maybe I'm crazy for not doing that.
But here's the thing.
That sounds like so little food.
It's not that much food. Sometimes if I have a really hard workout, I'll do a banana and a bagel, but I'll just do a plain bagel, like 350 calories of carbs right before I go work out. I'm not like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. I think probably the right thing to do is to get like proper food, but I just don't.
Bro, I'm looking at this photo. It looks like the right thing to do to me, right? Like what else? What are we measuring here?
I don't know.
Instagram likes. That's how you measure your health. And that is working right now.
So here's the thing though that I've learned, and this has like changed my confidence in life and in business and everything. Learning how to manipulate your body, because like that's what everyone wants to do, is either get skinnier, gain weight. Like everyone like wants to do something with their body. Once you learn,
how many people are happy? Just like
like everyone wants to improve their body in some way.
What I want,
yes. But the thing is like what I've learned. So I've been going hard at this. I think like it was 2 years ago. I texted you and I go, I'm going to become an Instagram fitness influencer. It was a joke, but not entirely a joke. But I was like, I want to figure this out, and so I just went and learned how it worked. And once I figured out that it's like a mathematical equation, life became so much better. And it was just like, you do this, you do this, you do this, and you do it for 3, 6, 12 months or whatever, you likely are going to see results. And then what it did was it gave me so much confidence that I realized, wow, this is just like business. Business is actually the same thing. You do this, you do this, you do this. And the likelihood of getting some type of result is high. Hopefully you'll get your desired result, but you're going to be better than when you started. But then it's like, that became the truth. For me, it was as if I had bad eyesight and I put on glasses. Like that became the truth with so many other things. You do this, you do this, you do this, and you trust the process. You hire a coach or you develop your own plan. You follow the plan and you have to do it for 3, 6, 12 months, whatever. And it's really fun to start seeing results. And then particularly with the body, I think emotions would be next. But with the body, it's like, oh, wow, I can manipulate that. And then also with money, we do it with money. I can manipulate money by doing X, Y, and Z. Then it becomes like, I can do anything. And so like once I've conquered the body part, it feels awesome. It feels so good.
That's so on point. And by the way, the opposite is true. When you want something and you don't figure out how to bend reality to make it happen, a little seed of doubt gets planted in the brain that's now there that says, and you're like, man, I could do anything I put my mind to. And there's a part of your head that says, really? Or is it like that diet? Or is it like sleeping early? Or is it like, making money? Like, whatever the thing that you wanted to do that you didn't actualize, you didn't manifest into reality by doing it. I'll tell you a little story. This very much relates to a conversation I had yesterday with my trainer. So talking to my trainer, and I said, I wrote a number on the mirror. I just went in there. I wrote 53. He's like, 53 what? Like, what do we do? 53 of something? 53 push-ups? What is this? I go, no, 53 days left. He goes, what do you mean? I go, oh, I had this realization. I'm 8 weeks away from having the body I want. That's 56 days.
Where did you start, and where did you at your peak, you were like 280?
No. I'm basically the same weight I was at the start.
You look way different.
Traded muscle and fat a little bit. But
I was like
220 and I'm currently like 229 through 230. So it's like I actually went up in weight a little bit, but the composition changed a bit.
Sorry, you just looked horrible when you started. Now you look awesome. So
that's a great compliment, actually.
No, you can see your biceps. You look significantly different from when we first started.
So I told him, I said, I'm 8 weeks away from everything I want. He's like, oh, that's great. I said, so I'm keeping track right now. I'll just keep changing this number every day that I eat exactly the way I want. This number goes down, and if I don't, we go back to the beginning and we start. I don't know if we go all the way back or if I'm just gonna like add 3 every time I'm if I slip, but I haven't slipped yet, so I haven't had to think about it. All right. So, anyways, we were talking, and we have this philosophy. So me and my trainer, we have this philosophy where we both are very into mindset. And what's cool is what happened. What I had experienced previously in my life was I'm really into mindset things. I'm basically like, in San Francisco, there's that angry Jesus guy who walks around with a megaphone, being like, Jesus lives, he's alive, he's alone. That's like this guy just walks around Soma, like in the heart of like where all the startups are. There's one guy that just walks around like that. He's famous. Everybody knows him. I was kind of that with mindset stuff. I'd be like, life is what you respond, not how you react, right? Like there is no meaning except the meaning you're giving it. Like, your mood is your choice. Like, I was just like walking around like, and nobody really cared. And in fact, most people were generally somewhat annoyed with my my ongoing conviction in like the mind, the power of the mind, and how important it is to master the mind.
Your wife's like, yeah, I get it, Shaan. If you think you can or think you can't, you're probably right. I get it. Like, just eat your fucking noodles.
I think you can take out the trash like I told you to. Like that's kind of where she lands. And I'm like, but isn't the trash already taken out when we really think about it?
Yeah.
Like, that annoying guy. and so then I'm sorry, I meet my trainer. He's like he's got his megaphone, I got my megaphone. And they touched. We were both into the same things. I'm like, you read that book? He's like, I've read that book. I'm like, in the morning, do you sit down and think about these things? He's like, I do.
You're like more annoying than like 2 improv kids or 2 vegans hanging out.
Exactly. We're 2 improv vegans hanging out. Exactly right.
Yes, and yes, and you're just constantly like trying to one up each other.
We're just like,
yeah,
when each other talk. So normally that's the thing, and to hype ourselves up, we're like, dude, it's so nice to talk to another black belt. It's like, there's a lot of white belts running around here, and you try to help them out, but they don't even really want to learn the techniques. It's so nice to talk to another black belt. And I say, you know what's nice about it? I don't even have to say the thing, actually. I'll say 2 words, 3 words about the subject. Enough said. You actually already know. You've read the thing. You've actually practiced that. We already agree there's no defensiveness, and so we just implement. And
what's your workout that day? Just back padding? Yeah, just like today we're working on our triceps. Yeah.
So while we're having this conversation, he even telling me this thing. He's like, bro, I like big weights and thin books. And I was like, what? He's like, I like big weights and thin books. And so we'll crack each other up about that. He likes to lift weights, and he's like, I like thin books, meaning I like to just understand the premise of the book and move on. And I appreciate books that are thin. And so we've always talked about simplicity. How do you simplify a concept so that you understand it, so that others can understand things? This is something I always try to do. And we've talked about like, what's simpler than a book, a thin book? What's simpler than a thin book? A blog post. What's simpler than a blog post? A tweet. What's simpler than a tweet? A little catchphrase. What's simpler than a catchphrase? A gesture. And so we had been playing with this idea of
you're doing too much. Just do less.
We were like, this phrase that I've been saying on the pod and off the pod, the season I'm in right now is a season of intensity is the strategy. So for me, that applies very easily with the body and diet thing. It's like, I don't need a new strategy. I don't need a different workout program. I don't need a new coach. I don't need a new diet. I don't need a new anything. I don't need to go get a new app to track it. All I simply need to do is execute the very simple plan with much higher intensity. And so I just had this little thing where I just if you're on YouTube, you see this. I'm just turning the knob up,
the dial,
and just turn the dial. And now, when I'm working out, sometimes he'll just go, oh, hold on, boop, and he'll just turn up the dial. I know what that means. I know exactly what I need to do. I need to multiply the intensity I'm bringing to the current situation. I'm doing the same thing, whether it's on food or whatever. Just this is all I need to do. Everything I want is on the other side of this little gesture. All right, cool.
It looks like you're rubbing a nipple. Your neighbors are just like, why is this guy doing like a nipple
That's what he
rubbing?
told me. He's like, be careful with that one. And I said, I only hear there's two possible good interpretations of this. And so, so the reason I'm coming full circle to the thing you said, which is what I told him. I said, look, he's like, you got to know your why. So I said, I know my why. My why is because I know that if I can do this, now there is an unstoppable feeling that comes from knowing that you put your mind to something and you did it. I said, I don't really care. I'm already married. I got 2 kids. I don't need to walk on a beach and like be attractive. That's not a thing for me. What I do care about is I can't have there be an area of my life that I wanted something in and not have bent reality to my will. Like I can't not have done that.
Right.
And so once I have done that, it's just yet another area of my life that I was able to do that. Just dial up the intensity and get the result. And that creates the unstoppable confidence. It furthers the confidence to the point of being unstoppable, because this is the only area of my life I haven't yet done that. And so I highly recommend for anybody, the area where you have struggled, that's the place to put the emphasis. That's the place to try to overcome. Not even for the thing, but because you want to be the type of person who could do that thing. That's at least what's worked for me so far, and why I have a lot more momentum than I had in the past. Because in the past, I was like, do I really care if I have abs? Like, I'm not sure that matters to me.
No, you definitely care. But it feels good. I read this stupid article on Vice, and it was like, gyms are built for skinny people, and I can't go to the gym because I'm fat and people stare at me. And I thought, and this is for anyone listening who's fat right now or out of shape, go to the gym. You want to know why? When I have never been to a gym and seen a fat person and thought that person's gross. I've only thought, dude, that's sick. They're getting after it. They're trying. In fact, I get inspiration when I see someone overweight because I'm like, damn, the first step's the hardest. They're actually in a harder spot than I am. So if you're listening to this, fucking go get fit. It feels so good to like achieve a goal and to make progress. It feels awesome. And so I've learned a lot over these past 2 years, like getting my stuff together, and it feels amazing. I've enjoyed this tremendously. So I wanted to bring that up really quick. And what's cool is like, once you like, basically, if you're like out of shape and fat, you only need to do like for example, if Shaan, you were like, I just want to get strong, I'd be like, well, just do this, this, and this. It's really simple. Like do 5 reps, 5 sets of this, this, and this. It's quite simple, and then eat this much food. And then once you get like down to that like 80th or 90th percentile of fitness, then it's like, all right, we're going to do really small adjustments, and you're going to see like bigger changes. So it's really fun to like see like, all right, I just need to like get to this point, and that's easy. And I'm just going to do a general plan that works for everyone. And then as you get fitter, it's like, oh, you're just going to dial this a little bit, dial this a little bit. And that's really cool to like see those little small changes. 300 calories a day. What does that mean? Or eating a bagel instead of a banana before your workout. Does that change anything? So like these little small things, it's been really fun to like see how that works. And I think maybe just because I get older and my body doesn't respond the same, so it's like these things actually matter. But if you're listening to this, that's what you have to look forward to if you're out of shape. If you're already in shape, it's really fun to test those small dials. I have one topic, Shaan. So yeah,
let's go.
Last week or this week maybe, Milk Road, your old company. So Shaan started a company called Milk Road. It was an email newsletter that was a daily newsletter for crypto enthusiasts. It was awesome. It still is awesome. You guys, you sold it. And so it's not you, or I don't actually know what your involvement is, but you launched this thing called Milk Road Pro. I believe, so the launch for it was cool. It happened, I actually don't see the date, but I'm looking at like the newsletter when you launched
last week.
Yeah. And it's like $300 a year or $20 a month, or sorry,
No, it was $10 a month.
$10 a month and $150 a year. Whatever. And what you get is you get market insights and deep dives from Milk Road's research team, weekly recaps on everything happening in the space, quarterly funding breakdowns. Cool. Awesome. First, before I give my criticism, I think it's sick that you guys tried this. Second, do you know if it's working?
I know a little bit. So I wasn't involved in the launch of this or the details, like what it is, the price, all that stuff. So I wasn't really involved in that. I knew they were going to do it. And I was like, cool idea to try. Let's do it. And that's all I know about that part. I don't know the results of it just so far.
So if I've been in this situation, so I had the hustle, I launched a $300 a year thing. The biggest mistake I made, or a big mistake I made, was instead of charging $300 a year, I should have made something that I could have charged $30,000 a year.
Yeah, you dropped a zero. You dropped a zero over here. You want to come get that?
Yeah, I dropped two of them. Two zeros. And the difference between those two price points is it's a ton, but I actually don't think that the work is as big as a difference in price points, or at least the effort that goes into that. And can I give you a few examples of what I would have done instead if I was the Milk Road? The first thing, and by the way, I'm in the backseat here. I don't know anything. I'm sure maybe they thought about this and there's reasons why, and there's probably some strategy. So this is totally a guy who doesn't know anything about the strategy. The first thing I would have done, or these are all different ideas of what could have worked, I would have researched. The first thing, tell me what you think about this. Not a crypto job board. That stinks. Been there, done that. I would have done a crypto salary benchmarking, meaning as any user that signs up, I would have asked them where they work, what their job title is, and how much money they made. And then I would have took like what the benchmark is for different salaries, and I would have packaged that and try to see if I can sell that to HR departments at crypto companies, which I don't know if they're actually hiring a lot right now, so I'd have to do more research. But I think I would have done something like that. There's a few companies that have done this. There's salary.com, and then there's PayScale. I think PayScale does something like $200 or $300 million a year in subscription revenue when they sell into this. What's your gut instinct on that one?
And you're saying instead of Milk Road Pro, or you're saying this is a part of it? What is the idea here?
Instead of. Okay. These are things I would have done instead of.
I think that's a cool idea. I think, the number of crypto companies that are mature enough to care about salary things, I think is a little early for that. I feel like something like that's going to work in a few years, not.
Well, now's a good time to start then, man, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
And then, so when I'm thinking about these new ideas, I would think most of my ideas for what you guys should have launched are data related. The reason I like data is I actually think that's within the core competency of a company creating newsletters. I think creating a software platform would have been a horrible idea because that's not within your core competency. I also would have looked at what data can I get from my users and what are they clicking on in order to like track different data. And if possible, I would have tried to make something that my advertisers would also want to buy. But that's actually quite hard. And that last one, I don't think I could have done. The second thing I would have looked at is sentiment analysis. Again, I'm a total outsider here. But I wonder if big banks or big buyers of crypto stuff, if they would care, what does the little guy think? Like the retail investor. Yeah. And what I would have done is, and I think there's a few, it's called Santiment. They do like $4 or $5 billion a year in revenue. And what they do is they look at behavior analytics of like different crypto markets and how it works. I think there's Augmento. There's a few more that like look at this, but I would have like seen, because the thing with crypto is it seems like a lot of stuff happens in Discord. And if anything happens in Discord, a gray hair guy is not going to be able to figure that out. Right?
Yes, true.
And so I'm wondering,
definitely true.
Could Milk Road have figured out what the little guy is talking about before it kind of pops and gets sentiment analysis packaged in a more professional way than Discord? What do you think about that?
I think that's a good idea. I think there's so we've been doing this thing called the Fear and Greed Index from the beginning,
which I love.
Which is basically it's a meter that just shows what's the market's mood, and this is kind of like based on the like from the stock market. This has been the case for a long time, which is the market is very moody. It gets extremely fearful. It gets extremely greedy. And you kind of want to be buying when it's fearful and you want to be selling when it's greedy if you wanted to time it, or at least just not buy when the market is feeling super greedy. But like it's good to know where the sentiment stands because you could sort of, price is very, very linked to that. And at the beginning, we didn't have any first party data. So we used an existing fear and greed index and we just skinned it and designed it to fit our brand. But I'm pretty sure now we have probably the biggest ability of anybody to poll for that.
Exactly.
Outside of Coinbase or others could do it, but they're not doing it. But in terms of media, like we're one of the biggest. I think we are the biggest newsletter for crypto. So I think, and we get a lot of feedback. Like if we say, "Hey, tell us X," we'll get tons of responses for every email. And so I think that we could have basically built our own fear and greed index or built that out, like maybe per coin or per project, per NFT. Like, what is the sentiment around this? What are the whales saying? So like just create a cohort of whales and their sentiment, that take that data and package it up for any of the financial, like institutional money that's in this space. So I do think that has a possibility, and that is a 30,000 product, not a $10 a month product.
And then what I would have done is like looked at that analysis and the data, and then also had my researchers and writers give context around this and to explain their sources and why they think it means what it means. And I think
because the research they do in this pro thing is actually good. And the problem is when it's going to be super low priced, I think that it's really hard to go that extra mile on any one topic, because the reader may not even be that sophisticated or have that much skin in the game, and then the writer has to churn out lots of content for a wider base. But if you know, hey, this is a narrow group of people that really care a lot about these specific things, you could go be the best in the world at delivering that type of intel.
And you host conferences and a handful of other things around that. And that is a $30,000 a year product, I think. Now, packaging all of that is challenging and pulling it off is challenging, but I don't think it's like significantly more challenging than the work that they already have to do. It's just packaged differently. And then the last two things...
the sales work is different. So in this, the sales work is easy. You put a link in the newsletter today and you say, hey, you want to read this section? Go check out Pro. Sales work is easy. Content work is about the same. But the value, obviously, of the sale is what matters. So the other case, you have to basically go and meet with the head of research at some firm, some blockchain investing firm or some traditional hedge fund or whatever, and you have to basically do an enterprise sale to get them on board.
Correct. The difference is, and this is an advantage, is that Milk Road is small and your burn is small. So you only a couple deals,
two sales,
could make a meaningful difference. And you start small and you start slow. And I think that could pull off. You're not a VC funded company that has to grow and support $1 million a month team. The last two things. Something that has always interested me is organizational charts, which sounds boring. But with crypto, this is combined with two ideas. But with crypto, you don't always know who's behind stuff because you, like a lot of it's just like someone's face that's a NFT or something like that. And you're not exactly sure who's behind it. What I would do is I would have done org charts that explains here's who's behind each thing. Here's the team, here's their contact information, and here's the story behind it, as well as our prediction of like, is this like interesting or not interesting? Should you trust it? Because if a bank or a buyer or a funder of some of these companies wants to know like what's the real deal behind them, it's really challenging to get a surface level or even a more than surface level view on it without doing lots of your own research. So if you have data that can actually pinpoint this is actually legitimate, it's worth diving deeper into, and here's some more analysis on that, or this one just is nonsense, run. Like something like that, and your customer being either someone who wants to sell into those companies or someone who wants to fund, invest, or purchase something from them. It kind of gives you a little bit more quantitative and qualitative information on are they worth the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. That one's, I like that one, but I like that one less than the other one. So I think these are all good ideas. I like the theme of these, data-driven. Like basically, once you acquire this corpus of data, it just simply becomes more valuable over time. It has to be updated and refreshed, but it's not like new content in the same way. It's building a stack of content.
This data is wrong every freaking time.
Have you heard of HubSpot? HubSpot is a CRM platform where everything is fully integrated.
Whoa, I can see the client's whole history, calls, support tickets, emails, and here's a task from 3 days ago I totally missed.
HubSpot, grow better.
I was talking to, I was reading this post about Zoom Info. Do you know what Zoom Info is?
Yeah, it's basically just like, here's everyone's email address. Is that the dummy version of it?
Yeah, they're publicly traded though. They do like $1 billion in revenue. I don't know what their market cap is. They're big, but it's...
What do they provide beyond that? It's basically like, it's for salespeople, right? Like, hey, salesperson, here's how you do your prospecting.
I think the high level view is basically we have mapped out every employee at every company in America, and we know like what they do. We know their contact information, and we know a little bit of background about the company. And the way that they started, it was the two founders. They said, we spent 75% of our time just calling the front desk of all these companies to confirm that their phone number was correct. And that was how it started. Then we went and got a bunch of different data sources and we combined them to make it a little bit more readable so you could have more data on different companies. And then finally, they created I don't know what you call it, like a viral loop, whatever it's called, where people could access some of the data, but they had to submit their own data. And so in order to get a discounted price, and that kind of created this loop where now they have so much information on different companies, how they work. If you Google like a company and then revenue, you might find Zoom info that will show up, but it will say like their contact information, where their office is and things like that. And so they started just by the two guys, just phone calling. And so these data businesses can be cool because you can brute force your way to get like a nice little MVP. So anyway, that's my spiel on Milk Road. I think that I don't know the background of what the owners are doing, so I could be totally off. That's what I would have done instead, though.
So here's a tool that's pretty cool that's related. Have you ever heard of Particl.com?
No, I'm going to go to it now, though.
So Particl just without the E. So it's Particl.com.
Unlock the power of driven product development.
Yeah. What it should say is, see how much any e-commerce store does in sales. Because that's what it does. Right? That's like the layman's term. Like, again, Zoom Info is like, hey, you want to sell shit? We'll tell you who to reach out to, and here's their email address, right? Like, they have to sort of mask it and make it sound a little fancier than it is, but it's very functional, very useful. And similarly, Particl is pretty cool. So what they did is, for pretty much all the major e-commerce stores, what they did is they have a way to go to any like kind of Shopify store and estimate with fairly high confidence. And it's not perfect, but it's directionally correct. What that store does in sales. Within that, which SKU they sell, like what's the top selling products, bottom selling products, that sort of thing. And so you could do really great competitive research and market research to try to figure out where are there gaps in the market. Oh, okay, this company's doing really well, but there's not a lot of competitors that also sell that product. There may be an opportunity to go in there. Or, hey, we're doing really well with these three products, but our competitor, they have this other product line that we don't have that's doing really well. And so it's a cool thing that they built using basically like, seems like crawlers and scrapers to go onto an e-commerce store and sort of estimate the volume of sales for product. It's not perfect. It's like, because I looked at it for like our brand and a couple other brands of people I know. And so, the exact sales number, like if it says 50 million, they might do actually 70 million or 60 million.
Right. It's just directionally.
It's directional. It's like, it's not 500 that they do probably. And it's not 5. It's more like 50. It's more like 50. And, but the product level stuff seems to be more accurate. Where, again, relatively like product A is more popular than product B by double, right? No, okay, interesting. What is that? What can we learn from that? And they sell this thing for like, I don't know, 20 grand a year, to your point, because if I'm a retailer and I can be smarter about my inventory purchases, I'll make back the 20 grand in, one or two purchases just by having this in Intel if I didn't have it earlier. So it kind of makes sense how these companies are able to charge so much for.
Is this company big, Particl?
Yeah, I think they're pretty big. I don't know too much. You can't search them on the platform, unfortunately, but it seems like they're doing pretty well.
Who's the owner of Milk Road now? What are their names again? Mike?
Kendall and Mike.
Kendall and Mike. Bravo. Launching a subscription
I'm going to send
product.
them this clip. They don't listen to podcasts. They don't listen to any podcasts. And so, like, in fact, when we first met him, I was like, yes, I get this podcast, blah, blah. And then he's like, wasn't really that interested in the podcast. And I was like, do you listen to our pod? Any pod? You listen to podcasts? He's like, no, why would I don't really understand. Why would I do that? Like, and he was just like, I just feel like I should just work instead of listen to other people talk about work. And
okay.
I was like, oh, well, touche. Absolutely right. That is what a successful person would say.
If you guys are listening, that's what I would have done. This is what I learned from launching my product. Trends was successful, but I realized we could have had 2 zeros at the end of our revenue, probably, if we would have done things differently.
Yeah, good feedback. I like it.
What else you got?
Okay, well, that was amazing. Let's just first start with that. Great idea. Next, with a guy with great ideas.
You're getting those bat packing reps in. Nice.
Yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop. Never quit. No days off.
I mean, I'm gonna let it slide that you said bat packing. That's what I'm gonna do because I'm a nice guy. So with ideas like this, I think I should be in the Tech All-Star game. What's the Tech All-Star game, you asked? It's something I wish existed. So I tweeted this out, and I think that I laid out my case for why the tech industry needs its version of the NBA All-Star game. So tech is getting pretty big. In fact, somebody who's not in the tech industry pointed this out to me. They go, yes, weird. I feel like tech is the new shit everyone in Hollywood's like talking about. He's like, like the Facebook movie was dope. He's like, and then they came out with Silicon Valley, HBO, and they have like, they have the WeWork movie. They got the Theranos movie. They got the Uber story. They got it's making its way more into pop culture. And what happens when something gets into movies is those heroes become heroes. So the protagonist in these things becomes like a new archetype that people want to follow. And so he was pointing this out. He's like, I think tech has just crossed over into this thing where the cool tech people are now popular everywhere. You see this with Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. They're like they're household names now. Jeff Bezos. Whereas, I couldn't have told you who the CEO of IBM was growing up. Like I had no idea, but that's changed now.
You still can't. You still can't name the CEO of IBM.
Couldn't even tell you what IBM stands for. To be honest.
I used to not be able to name who the CEO of IBM was. I still can't, but I at least want to know.
I definitely used to not be able to. So I think somebody should create this. I think somebody should create a weekend event that's produced like the NBA All-Star Weekend and get the best talent in the tech industry to compete. So here's how I think you should.
You're going to have like the layup contest or like the base hit derby.
No. It's going to be a hackathon. Real simple. So it's a hackathon. That's the main attraction. That's the game is a hackathon. And what we'll do is you only get invited if you're like a legit awesome tech company. So you go from like the top, like, okay, Facebook, you get to send a team or maybe a couple teams. But so does, I don't know, Figma. You guys have made it. Congratulations. You get to participate in the thing. And so the CEO of each company gets to recruit one engineer, one designer, and one marketer for their squad. They get to come and they're going to compete in the weekend hackathon. They got to build something awesome and they have to pitch it at the end. And you get to kind of see these people actually like watch them cook a little bit. Like, let me see you actually do work. Like, are you creative? Are you interesting? Can you build something cool? Can you sell? Can you pitch? I want to see that in action. I think it would be a phenomenal recruiting event for companies. I think it would be just a great like kind of brand builder. I think it'd be fun for these people because I don't know, most tech CEOs' jobs are actually like just dealing with problems and not even the fun types. It's not even like product problems. It's like people problems and lawsuit problems and shit like that. So I think it'd be a nice diversion for people who got into this because they like to build shit and that this is how they actually started their company. And I think that the way that Elon and Zucker sort of competing now, I think it's going to open the door to more direct competition, friendly competition amongst tech people. And then I think you do the fun gimmick games, right? You have the speed typing contest, or you have who can do X while they're drunk, or whatever. You come up with like some random ass games for other people to try as well. You broadcast the whole thing. And I think that like you could kind of, if you had the right, like I was trying to think who has the incentive to do this. So none of the companies have the incentive to do this. Only somebody just like stupid like me has the incentive to do this, where I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm going to spend my time on for the year. And like, I don't need money, so I can just like do this. And like, I think the whole thing, it would be profitable because you could get sponsors for the whole thing. And I think either me or somebody like Eric Tornberg, I thought would be great at this because he's got a lot of great connections and he comes from the sports world. So he like appreciates that part of it and sees that it's missing here. I also think that VC funds, like sort of like Andreessen Horowitz or whoever, could use this as an excuse to create like a festival or a fair that's different than a traditional boring conference. So nobody's going to do this, but I think this would be a fun idea. I wish this existed. What's your reaction?
Do you remember the Silicon Valley Sports League?
No, what is that?
It was awesome. It was like a rec sports league. And we did soccer one season. Another season, it was flag football. And it was awesome. It was basically different companies would pay 10 grand per season, and you could have 10 players play, and it was like a really fun way to like hang out and get to know your team and like play sports. And it would, at the time, I was at Apartment List, so it was like Apartment List versus I forget whatever company was like nearby, and you like it was awesome. It was really it was really fun, and the guys who started it used the profits to bootstrap their company, and it was sick. And they said they made millions of dollars from it. You've not heard of that?
No, but I'm on their website right now. I don't know if you've been there in a while.
No.
Look at this banner image. This might be the worst banner image I've ever seen. It's two evil-looking tech guys pretending to play football against each other. The guy's holding the football not like how you would hold a football when you run, first of all. Tiny hands and can't hold a football. And the other guy looks like an absolute hyena that's actually coming to take your data and sell it and not like play sports at all. This is the artist who did this hates the tech industry. They like lost their 2-bedroom loft in San Francisco because they raised the rent so that like some tech bro could live there, and now he's on the street doing art like this.
You just have to make it boxing, though. You got to get to the boxing. I mean, the YouTubers are doing it now,
but people aren't going to do the boxing thing. Like even like best case scenario is this Elon Zuckerberg thing. It's also not even going to happen. It's not going to happen. They have too much to lose, and it's too hard to be good at boxing. You've seen this with the YouTuber thing. Jake Paul actually like dropped out of life and has been like trains boxing for years to look okay. And like imagine a interesting tech person is like in their 40s or 50s typically, or they're like the scrawniest 25-year-old that like spent their whole life building the thing and not working out. Like I just don't think it's gonna look okay. I think it's gonna look really bad and sad when you watch it.
Why don't you just do this? What's holding you back? I mean, it seems fun.
Yeah, it seems fun, but I think it's a fun idea that if I knew that I could get the right people involved, maybe, but you need the A players to do this. I'm not interested in Apartment List head of growth versus feet finders, customer success guy. Like, we're not doing that. It needs to be Zuck and his team, Elon and his team, and then it needs to be like top people doing this, like the Airbnb founder. Like that's who people would want to tune in, because you don't get to meet these people. You definitely don't get to see them work. You only see them giving rehearsed interviews about how they started something 10 years ago, or like why they're not ruining the world right now. Like that's the only thing, that's the only context we see these people in. You don't really get to see them in a context that makes them likable, favorable, and like, admirable.
Are you on a roll right now? Should we just let you rattle these off?
I had 3 like alliterations there pretty much. So
well, I thought the feet finder was a gem too. I'll just let you
that
roll.
Was on my list as an idea, but I haven't researched it. Somebody just told me Feet Finder crushes it, and I go, what is Feet Finder? And they go, I think it's only Finder for feet. And I said, bookmark that. We'll look more at that later.
Is that really a thing, Feet Finder? Oh my God, you're right. It is the safest place, the safest, largest, easiest website to view, buy, and sell feet content. Great.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, this is wild.
Homepage.
You're right. They do kill. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's some homepage. They get 4 million. Yeah, we'll save this for another time. Oh, my God. That is a homepage. Don't go to feetfinder.com if you're with your family.
All right, let me give you another quick one. So related to my OnlyFans and now Feet Finder curiosity. Okay, so Ben sent me a link to something called OnlyPaige.com. And Paige as in like the girl's name, Paige. And I thought this was kind of interesting. So I go to it, and it's basically OnlyFans. So there's some model named Paige, and she's like, hey, subscribe to me and you get my content. And you get all the same things as OnlyFans. But she's hosting it on her own website.
It's that golfer. I don't know. What's her full name?
I don't know. Is she a famous athlete? I have no idea.
I think she started as like a mediocre athlete, a mediocre golfer, but she's really good looking. And so now she's in the news and stuff all the time for just being like this hot athlete. Her name is Paige S. I forget her last name, but something like that.
I mean, the variety of content here. You scroll down, it's golf instruction, and it says warming up, and she's just bending over on a putting green. It says the mental game, and she's talking about that. And then there's just bra tutorial. I don't know how many guys are subscribing to watch a bra tutorial for that, the bra techniques, but this is she knows what she's doing. Let me just put it this way.
I sent you her Wikipedia. It's Paige Sparanak. So I guess she was a former professional golf player. She was a Division I golfer, and then she just got famous for being pretty good at golf. And then people were like, "You're very attractive," and she was like, "Oh, I guess I should lean into that one."
She's talking to her mentor. She's like, I'm pretty good at golf, but I'm amazing at boobs. Like, where do you think I should go with this? And they're like, you know what? You should focus on your strengths. And so, anyways, what I thought was interesting about this is basically a direct to consumer version of OnlyFans. It's what Shopify did. So like before Shopify, it's like you could list your products on somebody else's marketplace, like Amazon, Walmart, whatever. So that's like one alternative. You could be an Amazon seller. You put your product on Amazon. Amazon is the storefront. People go to Amazon. They find your product. That's how OnlyFans works. People go to your OnlyFans. It's hosted on OnlyFans. OnlyFans is the tech platform where you make your purchases through. This is interesting. Somebody must have created there must be some company behind this, or she built this herself, which is like a Shopify version of OnlyFans. She has her own branded domain, her own store, and she's handling her own customer relationship with customers. So when for example, when you sign up to somebody's OnlyFans, you don't get their email address. If they churned, you could never market back to them that way. But with this, theoretically, she could. And so I thought this was kind of interesting. I wonder, like Shopify turned out to be a very big deal in the commerce landscape. Clearly, OnlyFans, the niche, is doing billions of dollars a year as a product, I don't know what you would call it, category. Can somebody create the Shopify for that? That's kind of interesting to me. So I don't know.
The
company, the first time I've seen this.
The company behind her page, it's called Uscreen. So uscreen.tv, the letter U and then screen.tv. And it's the all-in-one membership platform for creators. Delight your diehard fans with exclusive video content and a vibrant community across your own mobile app and website. And on their homepage, they list like some YouTuber with 2 million subscribers. They list a yoga company.
Kids art.
Is that what it is?
There's kids art. There's yoga. There's like some German guy. There's like a pregnancy blog.
And now Paige is using it. Yeah. She's like their big. She's definitely their biggest.
Best selling.
Yeah. So it's a company that's doing it. And it looks like she just found like a course creator company and was like, or a
membership
course
platform.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and just only pay $300 a month.
This is interesting. Their thing says 150 million earned by creators each year. That's pretty interesting. That's not like a small number. They say they have 9 million end users, so like members on the other side of the content.
Yeah, and so
cool. I never heard of this. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I've never heard of it, and it looks like they're killing it because they just made maybe some policy changes that would not allow like Kajabi or something to like appeal to that type of creator. But it's smart. So if you click their leadership team, they have a big team. It must be a big company. They have got a huge team. It looks like they have 50 to 150 employees. So it must be working. And if you look them up, you can't find any funding information about them. The company might be killing it. And we just
I want to make a Chrome extension that's just called the honesty filter. And it just changes the website homepage to like say what it actually does. Like, it should just say, monetize your body.
Yeah, like, with less fees than OnlyFans.
Yeah. And like, the Zoom info. Get people's email address and spam them. Like, these are like what these companies actually do. But if you go, like, if I go to Zoom info, what does it say?
So the guy who started it, his name's PJ. It looks like on his LinkedIn, he says they're north of 20 million in ARR. They're bootstrapped, and it's based out of Washington, D.C. This is a legit company. And before that, he had a web hosting site. Anyway, this guy.
This thing is bootstrapped? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what his LinkedIn says. Yeah.
So they probably take like, I want to say 5 to 10% of this. So maybe something like 10 to 15 million a year in revenue for them.
Yeah. And he says that he's killing it. It says in his LinkedIn, it's over 20 million in ARR. It says, fast growing and profitable bootstrap SaaS business, revolutionizing the way that video-based entrepreneurs make men get off. That's what it says. So, yeah, PJ.
Oh, you got to turn the Chrome extension off. Hold on. I got you there.
So, kudos to PJ.
My Chrome extension's called TrueDat. and you can find it in the Chrome store.
That's his side hustle. Good job, PJ at Unscreen. I don't see Paige on their home screen. I don't know why I wouldn't see that. She's has 4 million followers on Instagram. You got a guy on here in the front page with 1.8 on YouTube. We got to put Paige on there, but that's what she's using. So her name's Paige Saranick or something like that.
Well, maybe with your new body, I don't know. Maybe you screen, I screen, we all scream for Sam's screen. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. And Paige, what's up? That's a joke. My wife who's listening, that's a joke. But I do see that Paige is recently divorced, according to her Wikipedia. No, I'm just joking. She's like a 9. I'm a 4. That won't ever work out unless we could figure out a way. Unscreen or Uscreen, whatever it is. Good job. Kudos to you guys. They're taking that business of people who don't want to deal with these people. I don't know why more people don't do this. I guess you have to have a really big, you need a big audience. Paige has 4 million Instagram followers, but does OnlyFans even drive audience? Do they drive a significant amount of?
No, they don't. They intentionally don't drive discovery. So it's kind of like Shopify anyways. You promote yourself, they're your storefront. But the thing is, it'd be like if every Shopify store was called shopify.com/store name. And if you couldn't collect your, the emails or phone numbers of your customers, so you couldn't sell more products to them or whatever, it's all done through their platform.
Yeah. And Uscreen advertises that they have like a community platform. I don't think I want to be part of that community, but just the paywall part might be worth it. So if you're a creator, I'd be like, yeah, I'll accept their money, but I don't want to I don't want to talk to them on a regular basis. That'd be weird. Yeah, that's a good find. Where do we go from here?
I think that's it. I think we wrap it up.
All right. Well, that's the episode. Line. By the way, really quick.
Bro, that's the pod. That's the pod.
I know. I wanted to tell you something really quick. I just got a text while we were recording from Jason Yanowitz at Blockworks. And he goes, "Today I got asked to leave the bank because I was laughing so hard at Shaan's Taco Bell story. They were like, 'Sir, could you please leave your call outside?' Because I had headphones in and was laughing so loud. So loud. I said, yeah, no, you need to listen to this podcast. And they were like, 'Sir, what are you talking about?' The Taco Bell story. He
should have just taken off his AirPods and played it out loud for the entire bank to hear.
It's like, no, you got to hear the story that Shaan tells about making eye contact with the guy who's farting at a Taco Bell. And can I please deposit $500? No, apparently that was a hit. A lot of people like that Taco Bell story. Congratulations. You should do more uncomfortable things.
I went and replied to a bunch of the comments on YouTube. If it comes from the channel name, that's me. So I went and replied to a bunch of them because I had said we read and reply to every comment.
Yeah, I know people got mad at you.
We read all the comments. Now there's a lot. There's 700 comments per episode, which is a lot to reply to. I did it for one, and I was like, okay, I can't go do that for the next one. So I think it's going to be kind of like I read all of them and reply to, I don't know, 100 each time because it's now getting.
I read all of them. I read all of them. And a lot of them, they got mad at us for being, they called us all a bunch of cucks for liking Zuck. They said, "You're Zuck's cucks."
Yeah. Cuck Army. What's up? we have tattoos on the inside of our wrist.
Dude, isn't it crazy
that hot whenever Zuck's working out?
That Zuck is now on the liberal side of this stuff. Somehow we're left of center because we like Zuckerberg. That's so funny that he's fallen on that side of this argument.
But I don't get it.
They got mad at us. But anyway, that's the pod. We'll read all the comments. That's the pod.